One of the most powerful secrets of the universe, which has the power to completely transform your financial life forever, is the frequency of abundance. This great transformation doesn't involve hard work, complicated money strategies, or years of studying business plans. It doesn't require you to have special skills, a college degree, or even a lot of money to start with. This principle is related to something you do every single day without even thinking about it: the words you speak. Right now, as you're watching this video, you have no idea how much power is flowing through your mouth every time you open it to speak. Every single word that comes out carries an invisible energy that's either pulling abundance towards you or pushing it away from you. Most people go through their entire lives never understanding this connection between their words and their bank account. For example, if your desire is to attract money and wealth into your life, the truth is that you need to match the frequency of abundance with your words before this shows up in your bank account. Otherwise, you'll keep saying the same things that push money away from you, wondering why other people seem to get rich while you're still struggling to pay your bills. Think about the people you know who always seem to have money. Listen carefully to how they talk about money. Now think about the people who are always broke, always complaining about not having enough. Listen to their words. You'll start to notice a pattern that most people completely miss. Let me share something with you that might shock you. Yesterday, you probably spoke over 16,000 words. That's the average number of words a person speaks in a single day. Out of those 16,000 words, how many of them were about money, wealth, abundance, or lack of money? How many times did you say things like, "I can't afford that"? "Money doesn't grow on trees", "I'm so broke", or "rich people are lucky"? Every single one of those words sent out a signal into the universe. And the universe, like a faithful servant, responded to exactly what you asked for. When you say, "I can't afford that", you're literally asking the universe to give you more situations where you can't afford things. When you say, "I'm so broke", you're placing an order for more broke experiences. But here's what's even more interesting. The people who seem to attract money easily are speaking a completely different language. They say things like, "Money comes to me easily", "I always find a way to afford what I want", "Opportunities come to me all the time", and "I'm so grateful for the abundance in my life". These aren't just positive thoughts. They're creating a frequency that attracts exactly what they're speaking about. The reason most people never make this connection is because they think words are just sounds that come out of their mouth. They don't realize that words carry energy, vibration, and creative power. Ancient wisdom has always taught this. The Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue. Science is now proving that sound creates physical reality through vibration. This discovery changes everything because it means you don't have to wait for your circumstances to change before you can start attracting abundance. You don't need to get a better job first. You don't need to pay off all your debts first. You don't need to learn complicated investment strategies or start a business. You can start changing your financial reality right now, today, this very moment, just by changing the words that come out of your mouth. Most people do it backwards. They wait until they have money to start talking like wealthy people. But the frequency of abundance works the opposite way. You start talking like a wealthy person, and then the money follows. You start speaking abundance before you see abundance, and that's when the magic happens. I know this might sound too simple to be true. You might be thinking, if it was this easy, wouldn't everyone be rich? The answer is that it is this simple, but it's not this easy. Let me explain the difference. The concept is simple. Speak abundance, attract abundance. But it's not easy because you have to fight against years, maybe decades, of speaking lack and limitation. Think about it this way. If you've been speaking poverty language for 20, 30, or 40 years, your brain has created deep pathways that automatically make you say things like, "I can't afford that," without even thinking about it. Changing these automatic word patterns takes awareness, practice, and persistence. That's why most people never do it, even when they learn about it. So the first learning in this principle is if you don't change the words you speak about money, nothing in your financial life will change. This is the fundamental essence of frequency matching. Your current financial situation is a perfect reflection of the words you've been speaking about money for years. If you want a different financial reality, you must start with different words. This isn't just spiritual fluff or positive thinking. This is a universal law that works whether you believe in it or not, just like gravity works whether you believe in it or not, just like electricity works whether you understand it or not. The frequency of your words creates your reality whether you're aware of it or not. The problem is that most people are unconscious speakers. They let words fly out of their mouth without any awareness of what they're creating. They complain about their financial situation using the exact same words that created their financial situation in the first place. It's like someone digging a hole and wondering why they keep getting deeper underground. If you master this principle of matching your words to the frequency of abundance, everything you speak will attract abundance like a magnet. Money will start flowing to you in ways you never expected. Opportunities will show up out of nowhere. People will offer you jobs, partnerships, and deals. You'll find money in places you forgot you put it. Unexpected checks will arrive in the mail. Your entire relationship with money will transform. However, this requires you to pay attention to every word that comes out of your mouth. It requires you to catch yourself when you're about to speak lack and limitation. It requires you to consciously choose abundant words even when your bank account is telling you a different story. It requires you to speak your way into abundance instead of speaking your way into more lack. Most people are not willing to pay this price. They want their financial situation to change, but they're not willing to change the words that created their financial situation. They want different results while continuing to speak the same way they've always spoken. This is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over while expecting different results. If you're really ready for financial transformation, if you're really ready to break the cycle of financial struggle, if you're really ready to start attracting abundance like the wealthy people do, this video is for you. But I'm warning you right now, this isn't about learning something new and then going back to your old way of speaking. This is about completely rewiring how you talk about money, wealth, abundance, and your financial future. The people who get rich using this principle are the ones who take it seriously. They understand that their words are creating their reality, so they treat their words like precious gold. They guard their mouth like they're protecting their bank account because that's exactly what they're doing. Let me paint a picture for you of what happens when you don't control the frequency of your words. You wake up in the morning and immediately start speaking your current reality. You look at your bills and say, "I don't have enough money for all of this." You see something you want to buy and automatically say, "I can't afford that." Someone tells you about a business opportunity and you say, "I don't have the money to invest." You hear about someone making good money and you say, "They're so lucky. I never get opportunities like that." Every single one of these statements is an order you're placing with the universe. You're literally asking for more situations where you don't have enough money, more things you can't afford, more missed opportunities, and more reasons to feel unlucky. Then at the end of the day, you wonder why your financial situation never changes. This cycle repeats day after day, month after month, year after year. Your words create your experience, and your experience confirms your words, which makes you speak the same words even more strongly. it becomes a prison that most people never escape from because they don't realize they built the prison with their own words. Reality responds to the vibration of your words, just like a radio that picks up different stations. Every word you speak creates an energy frequency that broadcasts out into the universe. The universe then matches that frequency and sends back experiences that match what you're broadcasting. Your words create an energetic signature that either aligns with abundance or aligns with lack. There's no middle ground. Every word about money is either moving you toward wealth or moving you toward poverty. Every statement about your financial future is either opening doors or closing them. What do I mean when I say that? Well, let's go back to the example of attracting money. If your words about money are consistently, "I can't afford this," "money is hard to get," "I never have enough," or "rich people are greedy," then the frequency you're sending out says, "I don't have money, I don't deserve money, and money is bad." The universe, which operates like a perfect mirror, says, "Okay, that's what you believe about money, so here's more proof of why you can't afford things. Here are more situations where money is hard to get. Here are more experiences of never having enough. Here are more reasons to believe that rich people are greedy and you shouldn't be like them." But here's where it gets really interesting. Wealthy people, whether they realize it or not, speak a completely different language about money. Listen to how rich people talk about money, and you'll hear things like, "Money flows easily to me," "I love money and money loves me," "There are opportunities everywhere," "I can afford anything I truly want," and "Money is just energy that flows where it's needed." These aren't just positive thoughts or affirmations. These are frequency statements that align them with the energy of abundance. When a wealthy person says, "Money flows easily to me," they're broadcasting a frequency that attracts easy money. When they say, "I love money and money loves me," they're creating a loving relationship with money that makes money want to be around them. Poor people broadcast the opposite frequency. They say things like, "Money is the root of all evil," "I hate thinking about money," "Money doesn't buy happiness," and "I'm terrible with money." Every one of these statements creates resistance to money. They're literally pushing money away from themselves with their words. This might sound like magic, but it's actually based on scientific principles that most people don't understand. Everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Money is energy. Opportunities are energy. Success is energy. Your words are energy. When your word energy matches the frequency of money energy, they attract each other like magnets. Think about tuning a radio. When you want to listen to a specific station, you have to tune your radio to match the exact frequency of that station. If you're even slightly off, you get static, or you pick up a different station entirely. The same thing happens with abundance. Your words have to match the exact frequency of abundance, or you'll attract static, confusion, and struggle, or you'll tune into a different station entirely, like poverty or lack. Most people are walking around broadcasting static because their words about money are all mixed up. One minute they're saying, "I want to be rich," and the next minute they're saying, "Money causes problems." One minute they're affirming abundance, and the next minute they're complaining about their bills. This mixed up frequency creates mixed up results. Sometimes a little money comes, sometimes it goes away, but there's never consistent abundance. Here's something that will blow your mind. Go back and think about every major financial change in your life, both positive and negative. Now think about what you were saying about money right before those changes happened. You'll discover that your words predicted your financial future with shocking accuracy. Before you got your first good job, you probably started saying things like, "I deserve a better job," or "Good opportunities are coming my way." Before you lost money or had financial problems, you probably started saying things like, "I can't catch a break," or "Nothing ever works out for me financially." Your words aren't just describing your reality, they're creating your reality. The financial changes in your life didn't happen to you, they happened through you. Your words were the creative force that brought those changes into existence. What you need to understand is that the frequency of your words reflects two things: your relationship with money and your relationship with abundance itself. In other words, the money you see in your life right now is a direct result of the words you've been speaking about money, sometimes for decades. Every dollar in your bank account, every bill you have to pay, every financial opportunity that comes your way or passes you by, all of it is connected to the language you use when you talk about money. Most people have never stopped to listen to their own money language. They go through each day speaking automatically, using the same phrases their parents used, the same expressions their friends use, the same complaints they've been making for years. They don't realize that these automatic words are programming their financial future. If you catch yourself saying, "I'm broke," "I can't afford this," "money doesn't grow on trees," or "I never have enough," the universe simply reflects that belief back to you. It's like having a conversation with an echo. Whatever you shout into the canyon comes back to you multiplied. When you shout, "I'm broke," into the universe, it echoes back, "You're broke, you're broke, you're broke," in the form of more broke experiences. But here's what's really fascinating. Your money language isn't just about the direct things you say about money. It includes everything you say about your worth, your abilities, your future, and your relationship with success. When you say, "I'm not smart enough," you're actually saying, "I'm not smart enough to make good money." When you say, "I'm not lucky," you're saying, "I'm not lucky with money." When you say, "Nothing good ever happens to me," you're including money in that statement. The key to applying this is to become aware of your money language, but you have to go deeper than just the obvious statements about money. You have to catch the subtle ways you talk about abundance, success, opportunities, and your own capabilities. Start paying attention to what you say about money for just one day, but also pay attention to how you talk about yourself and your life in general. Here's an exercise that will shock you. Carry a small notebook with you for one full day. Every time you say something about money, write it down. But also write down every time you say something about not being able to do something, not having something, not being good enough for something, or not deserving something. At the end of the day, read your list. You'll be amazed at how much lack and limitation language you use without even realizing it. Most people discover they're speaking poverty language hundreds of times per day. They say things like, "I can't do that. That's too expensive. I'm not good at that. I don't have time. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't know the right people. I missed my chance. And that's just not for me." Every single one of these statements is telling the universe to keep abundance away from you. But the people who attract money easily have trained themselves to speak differently. Instead of, "I can't afford that," they say, "How can I afford that?" Instead of, "I don't have money," they say, "Money is on its way to me." Instead of, "I'm terrible with money," they say, "I'm learning to be better with money every day." Instead of, "Rich people are lucky," they say, "I create my own luck with money." Your money language doesn't just affect what you attract, it actually creates who you become. Every time you say, "I'm broke," you're not just describing your current situation, you're declaring your identity. You're telling yourself and the universe, "I am a broke person." And broke people think like broke people, act like broke people, and make decisions like broke people. When you change your language from "I'm broke" to "I'm building wealth," something magical happens in your brain. You start to think like someone who's building wealth. You start to notice opportunities that broke people miss. You start to make decisions that move you toward abundance instead of away from it. Your identity shifts, and when your identity shifts, your reality follows. This is why wealthy people protect their money language so carefully. They understand that every word they speak about money is either reinforcing their wealthy identity or undermining it. They would never say, "I can't afford that," because wealthy people don't think in terms of what they can't afford. They think in terms of priorities and choices. Rich people say things like, "I choose not to spend money on that right now because I'm investing in something better," or "That's not a priority for me at this time," or "I'm directing my money toward more important goals." Notice the difference? They're not speaking from lack, they're speaking from choice and abundance. Here's something most people don't realize. Your current money language probably isn't even yours originally. You learned it from your parents, your family, your community, and your culture. If you grew up in a household where people constantly complained about money, said negative things about rich people, and spoke about financial limitation, then you inherited that programming. Think about the money phrases you heard growing up. Did you hear things like, "Money doesn't buy happiness," "Rich people are greedy," "We can't afford that," "Money is tight," "We're not made of money," or "A penny saved is a penny earned"? Every one of these phrases programmed your subconscious mind to have a specific relationship with money. The tragedy is that most people spend their entire adult lives speaking the same poverty language they learned as children, never realizing that they're perpetuating the same financial struggles their family had. They're literally keeping themselves poor with words they learned before they were old enough to question whether those words were helping them or hurting them. But here's the good news. Since you learned this language, you can unlearn it. Since these are just words and phrases that got programmed into your mind, you can reprogram your mind with different words and phrases. You can literally change your financial future by changing the language you use to talk about money. What you need to understand is that the abundance you speak about today shows up in your life with a certain delay. This is one of the most important concepts to grasp because it's where most people give up just before their breakthrough happens. They start speaking abundance language, expect immediate results, and when they don't see instant changes in their bank account, they go back to their old way of speaking. Here's why there's always a delay between speaking abundance and seeing abundance. When you speak new abundant words, the old frequency doesn't disappear instantly. It's like changing the station on an old radio. It takes a moment for the static to clear and the new station to tune in clearly. Your old words created a momentum of lack that has to slow down before the new momentum of abundance can take over. Think about it like turning around a huge ship in the ocean. When the captain decides to change direction, he turns the wheel, but the ship doesn't immediately start going in the new direction. The momentum of the old direction has to slow down first, then the ship gradually starts moving in the new direction. The bigger the ship, the longer it takes to change direction. If you've been speaking poverty language for decades, you've built up a lot of momentum in the direction of lack, and it takes time to turn that around. This delay is actually a gift from the universe, even though it doesn't feel like it at first. Imagine if your words manifested instantly. Every time you got frustrated and said, "I'm so broke," you would immediately lose all your money. Every time you said, "I hate my job," you would immediately get fired. Every time you complained about your bills, more bills would instantly appear. The delay gives you time to clean up your language before your new words start manifesting. So you have to keep speaking abundance language long enough for your financial reality to catch up. This means you must stay loyal to your new abundant words, even when your bank account hasn't changed yet, even when the bills are still there, even when other people are telling you that positive thinking doesn't work. This is where most people fail. They start saying things like, "Money flows to me easily and I am a magnet for wealth." But after a week or a month when they don't see dramatic changes, they give up. They go back to saying, "This positive stuff doesn't work for me, and I knew it was too good to be true." What they don't realize is that they were probably just weeks or even days away from seeing their first manifestation. It's like planting a seed in the ground. You plant it, water it, and give it sunlight, but you don't see anything happening above ground for days or weeks. An impatient gardener might dig up the seed to see if it's growing, but that would kill the plant. The wise gardener trusts the process and keeps watering the seed even when they can't see any results yet, because they understand that the most important growth is happening underground where they can't see it. Your abundant words are like seeds you're planting in the fertile soil of the universe. The most important changes are happening in the invisible realm, in your energy, in your vibration, in the quantum field where all manifestation begins. You can't see these changes with your physical eyes, but they're preparing the way for physical abundance to show up in your life. Here's something that happens to almost everyone who starts speaking abundance language. The universe seems to test your commitment to your new words by sending you situations that tempt you to go back to your old language. Right after you start saying, "I always have enough money," you might get an unexpected bill. Right after you start saying, "Money comes to me easily," you might face a financial challenge. This isn't the universe punishing you or proving that abundance language doesn't work. This is the universe checking to see if you really mean what you're saying. It's like the universe is asking, do you really believe that money comes to you easily, or are you just saying that when things are going well? Your response determines whether you pass the test and move to the next level of abundance, or fail the test and go back to your old financial patterns. Most people fail this test because they don't understand what's happening. When the unexpected bill arrives, they immediately go back to saying, "I can't afford this. And why does this always happen to me?" They think the bill is proof that their abundant words don't work. But actually, the bill is an opportunity to prove that their abundant words are real. The people who pass this test respond differently. When the unexpected bill arrives, they say, "This is just the old momentum clearing out to make room for the new abundance that's coming." They say, "I trust that the money for this bill is already on its way to me." They say, "This situation is temporary, but my abundance is permanent." They use the challenge as an opportunity to strengthen their abundance language instead of abandoning it. This means you must remain faithful to the identity and worldview you have created until your goal reveals itself. Whatever financial identity you want to have, start by adopting the language of someone who already has that identity. Ask yourself how a wealthy person would speak in your situation and use those words even when your current situation doesn't match those words yet. If you want to be debt-free, start speaking like someone who's debt-free. Instead of saying, "I'm drowning in debt," say, "I'm paying off my debt quickly and easily." Instead of saying, "I'll never get out of debt," say, "Every day I'm getting closer to being completely debt-free." Instead of saying, "These payments are killing me," say, "I'm grateful I have the ability to pay my debts." If you want to be wealthy, start speaking like someone who's wealthy. Instead of saying, "I can't afford that," say, "I choose to spend my money on other priorities right now." Instead of saying, "I wish I had more money," say, "I'm grateful for the money I have and excited about the money that's coming." Instead of saying, "Rich people are lucky," say, "I create my own wealth through my choices and actions." The key is to hold on to this new language long enough for it to become natural, and then hold on to it even longer until it starts manifesting in your physical reality. Most people give up somewhere in the middle, after the new language starts feeling natural, but before it starts manifesting physically. They think that because the words feel natural now, the results should be instant, but there's still a gap between internal change and external manifestation. What you need to understand is that the universe doesn't hear the emotion in your words, but responds to the specific content of what you say. This is a game changer because most people think they can complain about their financial situation as long as they really want it to change. They think their good intentions will override their negative words. But that's not how the universe works. Let me explain what I mean with some examples that will probably shock you. If you keep saying, "I hate being poor," the universe doesn't hear the hate, it hears poor. If you say, "I'm sick of being broke," the universe doesn't hear that you're sick of it. It hears broke. If you say, "I can't stand these bills," the universe doesn't hear your frustration. It hears bills. As a result, when you say, "I hate being poor," you get more poverty to hate. When you say, "I'm sick of being broke," you get more broke experiences to be sick of. When you say, "I can't stand these bills," you get more bills that you can't stand. The universe is like a waiter who only hears the food you order, not how you feel about ordering it. This is exactly how it happens in real life. The more you complain about what you don't have and what you don't want, the more of exactly those things will continue to be reflected in your life, giving you more reasons to confirm your worldview and identity. It becomes a vicious cycle where your complaints create more things to complain about, which makes you complain more, which creates even more problems. Most people fall into what I call the complaining trap. They think that complaining about their financial problems will somehow make the problems go away, or at least make them feel better about having the problems. But complaining is actually one of the most powerful ways to attract more of what you're complaining about. When you complain about your job, you're broadcasting the frequency of bad job experiences. The universe responds by giving you more bad job experiences. Difficult coworkers, unreasonable bosses, boring tasks, low pay, and limited opportunities for advancement. When you complain about your bills, you're broadcasting the frequency of unwanted bills. The universe responds by sending you more unwanted bills, unexpected expenses, higher costs, financial emergencies, and payment due dates that seem to come faster than your paychecks. When you complain about not having enough money, you're broadcasting the frequency of not enough money. The universe responds by creating more situations where you don't have enough money, prices going up, income going down, opportunities disappearing, and expenses increasing. Every complaint is literally an order you're placing with the universe for more of what you're complaining about. But here's what's really tricky about complaining. It feels good in the moment. When you complain about your financial situation, you get a temporary feeling of relief, like you're doing something about the problem. Other people might even agree with your complaints and validate your feelings. This makes complaining addictive because you get an immediate emotional payoff even though you're creating long-term financial damage. This is the fundamental difference between a scarcity mentality and an abundance mentality. It's simply a question of seeing the glass as half full rather than half empty, but when it comes to money, this difference determines whether you attract wealth or repel it. People with abundance mentality focus their words on what they have and what they want. People with scarcity mentality focus their words on what they lack and what they don't want. The key to applying this in your life is simple but requires discipline. Focus on what you want and what you already have to make any change happen. You need to start focusing on what you already have right now. Everything you have, all the progress you've made, the beautiful family you have, the roof over your head, the food in your refrigerator, the clothes in your closet, the money in your wallet, even if it's just a few dollars. When you wake up in the morning, instead of immediately thinking about your bills and problems, spend the first few minutes talking about what you're grateful for financially. Say things like, "I'm so grateful for the money I have. I'm thankful for my ability to earn money. I appreciate having a place to live. I'm blessed to have food to eat. And I'm grateful for all the ways money flows into my life." This isn't just positive thinking, this is frequency alignment. When you speak gratitude for what you have, you're broadcasting the frequency of having instead of lacking. The universe responds to this frequency by giving you more things to have and more reasons to be grateful. Gratitude is like a magnet that attracts more of whatever you're grateful for. Most people sabotage their abundance by speaking automatically without thinking about what they're creating. They see a price tag and automatically say, "That's too expensive." They get a bill and automatically say, "I don't have money for this." They hear about an opportunity and automatically say, "I can't afford to do that." These automatic responses are programming their subconscious mind for limitation and lack. Just stop and think, what do I want? What would make my life a real journey of discovery? How does that look? How does it feel? It can be a vague image as long as you're focused on what you want instead of what you don't want. When you catch yourself about to complain about money, stop and ask yourself, what do I want instead? Then speak about what you want. Instead of, "I don't have enough money," say, "I'm attracting more money into my life every day." Instead of, "I can't afford that," say, "I'm finding creative ways to afford the things I want." Instead of, "Money is so tight," say, "I'm grateful for the money I have and excited about the money that's coming." Instead of, "I never have enough," say, "I always have exactly what I need and abundance is flowing to me now." When you do that, when you continue to focus on what you want instead of what you lack, the gap between your current life and your desired life begins to close. This happens because you start to push the boundaries of your comfort zone when you speak abundance. Your abundant words make you notice opportunities you would have missed before. They make you take actions you wouldn't have taken before. They make you think thoughts you wouldn't have thought before. Your words literally rewire your brain to look for abundance instead of lack, opportunities instead of obstacles, solutions instead of problems. When your brain is looking for abundance, it finds abundance. When your brain is looking for opportunities, it finds opportunities. When your brain is looking for solutions, it finds solutions. This is how speaking abundance creates abundance. It changes not just what you attract, but what you notice, what you think, and what you do. This will change everything forever, because once you learn to control this word cycle, you will literally see money flowing into your life in ways that seem almost magical. Understanding this cycle is the difference between people who struggle with money their entire lives and people who seem to attract wealth effortlessly. Most people are trapped in a cycle that keeps them poor, but wealthy people have learned to reverse this cycle to create continuous abundance. Let me show you how most people create their financial reality, and then I'll show you how to flip this cycle to work in your favor. Most people wake up in the morning and immediately look at their current financial situation. They check their bank account, think about their bills, worry about their debt, and stress about their expenses. Based on what they observe in their current reality, they form their thoughts and speak their words. So they look at their empty bank account and say, "I don't have any money." They think about their bills and say, "I can't afford to pay these." They consider their debt and say, "I'll never get out of this hole." They see the price of something they want and say, "I can't afford that." They hear about someone else's success and say, "I never get opportunities like that." Every word they speak is based on their current financial reality. The problem is that your current financial reality was created by the words you spoke in the past. So when you speak from your current reality, you're just recreating the same reality over and over again. It's like looking in a mirror and trying to change your reflection by touching the mirror instead of changing yourself. The reflection will never change until you change what you're projecting into the mirror. This creates what I call the poverty cycle. You observe your lack of money, then you speak from that lack, which creates more lack, which gives you more lack to observe, which makes you speak more lack, which creates even more lack. It's a downward spiral that gets stronger and stronger over time because each cycle reinforces the next cycle. People who are trapped in this cycle often say things like, "I keep doing the same things but nothing changes," or "No matter what I try, I always end up back where I started," or "It feels like I'm cursed when it comes to money." They're not cursed. They're just stuck in a cycle where their words are creating the exact same reality over and over again. The cycle works like this: observe lack, speak lack, create more lack, observe more lack, speak more lack, create even more lack. Each time around the cycle, the lack gets stronger because your words are getting more convinced that lack is your reality. Your complaints become more passionate, your limiting beliefs become stronger, and your negative expectations become more certain. But here's what's fascinating. Wealthy people, whether they realize it or not, operate from a completely different cycle. Instead of observing their current reality first, they start with the reality they want to create. They speak from their desired future instead of their current circumstances. They use their words to pull their desired reality into existence instead of using their words to recreate their current reality. If you want to become a creator of abundance instead of a victim of circumstances, you need to reverse this cycle completely. Instead of observe, speak, create, you need to speak, create, observe. You start with abundant words first, even before you see the abundance. You speak your desired reality into existence instead of speaking your current reality into permanence. Here's how the abundance cycle works. First, you decide what financial reality you want to create. Maybe you want to be debt-free. Maybe you want to earn a specific amount of money. Maybe you want to have financial freedom. Maybe you want to own your own business. Whatever it is, you get clear about the financial reality you want to experience. Then you start speaking as if that reality is already true or already on its way to you. If you want to be debt-free, you start saying things like, "I am becoming debt-free quickly and easily," and "Every day I'm getting closer to financial freedom," and "I love how it feels to be debt-free." If you want to earn more money, you start saying, "Money flows to me from multiple sources, and I am a magnet for financial opportunities, and my income is increasing every month." The key is that you speak these abundance words before you see the abundance in your physical reality. You're not lying or being fake. You're using your words to create your future instead of recreate your past. You're speaking your way into abundance instead of speaking your way into more lack. When you start speaking abundance words, something amazing happens. The universe responds to your words by beginning to rearrange circumstances to match what you're saying. At first, the changes might be small. A few extra dollars here, a small opportunity there, a bill that's lower than expected, a refund you forgot about. These small changes are the universe's way of confirming that your new words are being heard. But here's where most people make a mistake. They see these small changes and immediately go back to observing their overall financial situation. They say things like, "Well, I got an extra $20, but I still have all these bills," or "That opportunity was nice, but I still don't have enough money," or "Those small changes don't really matter because my situation is still the same." When you do this, you're switching back to the poverty cycle. You're observing your current reality and speaking from that reality, which recreates that reality. The small positive changes stop coming because you've switched back to broadcasting lack instead of abundance. The people who successfully create abundance do something different. When they see small positive changes, instead of focusing on what hasn't changed yet, they focus on what is changing. They say things like, "This is proof that my abundance words are working, and these small changes are the beginning of bigger changes coming, and I'm so grateful for these signs that my financial situation is improving." This is what I mean by confirm instead of observe. Instead of observing your current reality and speaking from that reality, you look for confirmation that your abundant words are working. You actively look for evidence that abundance is flowing into your life, even if that evidence is small at first. When you focus on confirming your abundance, you start to notice things you would have missed before. You notice when you find money in an old jacket pocket. You notice when someone pays you back money you had forgotten about. You notice when you get a discount or a deal on something you need. You notice when opportunities come your way. You notice when things work out better than expected financially. Every time you notice one of these confirmations, you speak gratitude and excitement about it. You say things like, "This is amazing. Money is flowing to me from unexpected sources." Or, "I love how the universe is always providing for me." Or, "This is proof that I am a magnet for abundance." These words strengthen your abundance frequency and attract more confirmations. The more you confirm your abundance, the bigger the confirmations become. The few extra dollars becomes a few $100s. The small opportunities become bigger opportunities. The unexpected refunds become unexpected income. The better than expected outcomes become consistently positive financial experiences. Your whole financial reality transforms because you've learned to use your words to create abundance instead of recreate lack. This is something I applied, and it really worked. So I'm sharing it with you because I want you to experience the same transformation I experienced. At the very beginning of my abundance journey, I was just like most people. I was trapped in the poverty cycle, using my words to recreate the same financial struggles over and over again. I would wake up every morning and immediately start complaining about my money situation. I would say things like, "I hate being poor, I can't afford anything I want, rich people are so lucky, and I'll never have enough money." I thought I was just expressing my frustration, but what I was actually doing was ordering more poverty from the universe. Every complaint was a request for more things to complain about. My financial situation kept getting worse, and I couldn't understand why. I was working hard. I was trying different strategies. I was reading books about money, but nothing seemed to work. I would have temporary successes, but then I would always end up back where I started. I felt like I was cursed when it came to money. Then I learned about the power of words and how they create reality. At first, I thought it was just positive thinking or wishful thinking. I thought if it was this easy, everyone would be rich. But I was desperate enough to try anything, so I decided to experiment with changing my money language. I started by becoming aware of every word I said about money for one full week. I carried a notebook and wrote down every negative thing I said about money, wealth, or my financial situation. By the end of the week, I had filled up pages and pages with negative money language. I was shocked at how much I was complaining about money without even realizing it. The next week, I tried to catch myself before I said negative things about money. Every time I was about to complain about money, I would stop and say something positive instead. Instead of, "I can't afford that," I would say, "I'm finding ways to afford what I want." Instead of, "I'm so broke," I would say, "Money is coming to me now." Instead of, "Bills, bills, bills," I would say, "I'm grateful I have the ability to pay my bills." It felt weird at first, like I was lying to myself. My current reality didn't match my new words, and part of me felt like I was being fake or delusional. But I kept doing it because I had nothing to lose. My old way of speaking wasn't working anyway, so I figured I might as well try something different. Within the first month, I started noticing small changes. I found money in places I had forgotten about. People started paying me back money they owed me. I got a small, unexpected refund from overpaying a bill. I found a $20 bill in a book I was reading. These were small things, but they were different from my usual experience of money only flowing out of my life. But I didn't let these small changes make me overconfident. I kept speaking abundance language every single day. I kept catching myself before I complained about money. I kept focusing on what I wanted instead of what I lacked. I kept speaking gratitude for the money I had instead of complaining about the money I didn't have. After about 3 months of consistent, abundant language, bigger changes started happening. I got offered a side job that I hadn't been looking for. Someone offered to buy something from me that I didn't even know they wanted. I received a check for money I had forgotten I was owed from years ago. I found a great deal on something I needed, which saved me hundreds of dollars. But the most amazing thing was that opportunities started coming to me that I never would have noticed before. Because I was speaking abundance language, my brain was looking for abundance instead of lack. I started seeing business opportunities, investment possibilities, and money-making ideas that had probably been there all along, but I had been blind to them because I was focused on lack. Within 6 months, my entire financial situation had transformed. Not just because I had more money, but because I had a completely different relationship with money. I stopped seeing money as scarce and started seeing it as abundant. I stopped seeing myself as someone who struggled with money and started seeing myself as someone who attracted money easily. But here's the most important part. The changes didn't happen because of some magic or supernatural force. They happened because changing my language changed my energy, my thoughts, my actions, and my awareness. When I spoke abundance, I vibrated abundance, which attracted abundant experiences and opportunities. As we understand the frequency of abundance, we discover that our words are like magic spells that shape our reality. Every word you speak carries creative power that either builds the life you want or builds the life you don't want. What we speak about money becomes the truth we live financially. Your words are not just sounds that come out of your mouth. They are creative forces that mold your financial destiny. Ancient wisdom traditions have always taught this truth. They understood that words have the power to create and destroy, to bless and curse, to open doors and close them. Modern science is now proving what ancient wisdom always knew, that sound creates physical reality through vibration and frequency. But the secret is, instead of just talking about our current financial problems, we must speak our way into the abundance we want to experience. Most people use their words to describe their current reality, but creators use their words to create their desired reality. The difference between these two approaches is the difference between remaining stuck in the same financial patterns and breaking free into new levels of abundance. When you truly understand that your words are creating your financial reality, you become very careful about what you say. You realize that every complaint about money is an order for more financial problems. Every statement of lack is a request for more lacking experiences. Every expression of limitation is an invitation for more limiting circumstances. Just like a radio that attracts the station you tune into, your words attract the financial reality that matches their frequency. If you tune into the frequency of "I never have enough money," you will attract experiences of never having enough money. If you tune into the frequency of "money flows to me easily," you will attract experiences of money flowing to you easily. Your words are literally the blueprint that the universe uses to construct your financial reality. Every day, you're either speaking a blueprint for abundance or speaking a blueprint for lack. The universe, like a faithful contractor, builds exactly what your blueprint specifies. If your blueprint says small bank account, you get a small bank account. If your blueprint says constant money problems, you get constant money problems. But when you change your blueprint by changing your words, the universe starts building a different financial reality for you. When your blueprint says multiple streams of income, The universe starts arranging multiple streams of income. When your blueprint says financial freedom, the universe starts creating pathways to financial freedom. This is why wealthy people are so protective of their words about money. They understand that their wealth didn't happen by accident. It happened because they consistently spoke wealth into existence. They understand that maintaining their wealth requires them to continue speaking wealth language. They would never sabotage their abundance by speaking lack because they know their words have creative power. Your financial future is being created right now by the words coming out of your mouth. Every conversation you have about money, every comment you make about your financial situation, every statement you make about wealth and abundance, all of these words are programming your financial future. If you want to know what your financial future will look like, listen to what you're saying about money today. If you're constantly saying, "I can't afford anything," your future will be full of things you can't afford. If you're always saying, "I never have enough money," your future will be full of not having enough money. If you keep saying, "Rich people are lucky," your future will be full of watching other people get lucky while you don't. But if you start saying, "I am attracting abundance into my life," your future will be full of abundant experiences. If you start saying, "Money comes to me easily from multiple sources," your future will be full of easy money from multiple sources. If you start saying, "I am grateful for my increasing wealth," your future will be full of increasing wealth to be grateful for. The most powerful realization you can have is that you are not a victim of your financial circumstances. You are the creator of your financial circumstances through the words you speak. Every financial experience you've ever had was preceded by words that matched that experience. Every financial experience you will have in the future will be preceded by words that match that experience. Your journey with abundant speaking starts right now, in this very moment. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't have to wait until your circumstances change. You can begin transforming your financial reality with the very next words that come out of your mouth. I hope this knowledge will be the key that unlocks your financial transformation. Understanding the frequency of abundance is just the beginning. Applying this understanding consistently is what creates the transformation. You now know that your words are creating your financial reality, but knowledge without application is powerless. The magic happens when you start using what you've learned. Right now, make a commitment to yourself to become conscious of every word you speak about money for the next 30 days. Catch yourself when you're about to complain about money and choose abundant words instead. Notice when you're speaking from lack and shift to speaking from abundance. Pay attention to how your financial reality starts to shift as your words shift. Thank you for taking this journey with me into the hidden power of your spoken word. If this video helped you understand how your words are creating your financial reality, I invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. By liking this video, you're telling the universe that you're ready to receive more abundance knowledge. By subscribing, you're committing to your ongoing financial transformation. Share this video with others so they can learn to speak abundance too. Every person who learns to use their words consciously is helping to raise the abundance frequency of the entire planet. When you share this knowledge, you're not just helping other people, you're also strengthening your own abundance by giving value to others. And don't forget to leave a comment below sharing what abundant words you're going to start speaking today. Writing down your commitment makes it more powerful. Share your abundant words with our community and let's support each other in speaking abundance into existence. As we reach the end of this journey together, I want you to remember one crucial truth. Your words are your magic wand for creating financial abundance. Every time you open your mouth to speak about money, you are either casting a spell for abundance or casting a spell for lack. There is no neutral ground when it comes to the creative power of your words. The difference between people who struggle with money their entire lives and people who live in abundance is not luck, education, connections, or circumstances. The difference is the language they use when they talk about money. Wealthy people have learned, either consciously or unconsciously, to speak the language of abundance. Poor people continue to speak the language of lack. You now have the knowledge to choose which language you will speak. You understand that your current financial situation is a direct reflection of the words you've been speaking about money. You know that your future financial situation will be a direct reflection of the words you start speaking about money from this moment forward. The choice is yours. You can continue using your words to recreate the same financial reality you've always had, or you can start using your words to create the financial abundance you've always wanted. You can remain trapped in the poverty cycle of observe, speak, create, or you can break free into the abundance cycle of speak, create, observe. Your transformation begins with your next word about money. Make it an abundant one. Thanks again for watching, and see you soon.